अग्नेनय सुपताराय अस्मान् विश्वानि देव वयुनानि विद्वान् युयोज्यस्मज्जुहुराणमेनः भूयिष्ठान्ते नमवुक्तिं विधेम. One of our class participants in Sanatana Dharma 101 offered by International Hindu University, Srimati Bhargavi Seshadri, a nutritionist and a connoisseur of Bharatanatyam, is going to talk about some unknown, not well-known characters in Mahabharata as well as one known character, their attributes and then their characters, how it influences our life on a daily basis. Bhargavi.
Good evening everyone. Namaste. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. My presentation today is based on the life lessons we learn from Mahabharata and some of the bhakti texts. I'm going to brief you about Sanatana Dharma, Itihasa like Ramayana and Mahabharata, teachings from Bhagavad Gita, elaborate a little bit on the life lessons that we learn from Mahabharata with examples, and some takeaway of how reality, truth, and realizations for our life, and journey towards the path of victory and enlightenment towards the supreme power. Sanatana Dharma is the path for Hindus to find the supreme by learning from Vedas to Upanishads. The preachings from Vedas and its subdivision Upanishads shows us empirically to live life in the dharmic way, which shows the way to bhakti, knowledge, and every aspect is important to attain salvation or to reach the supreme. Puranas also teach us that both bhakti and knowledge is necessary to attain mukti. As we hear the popular quote from Sri Rajagopalachari as a prelude to the popular Bhajagovindam song composed by Sri Adi Shankaracharya, knowledge and bhakti are one and the same. If knowledge does not transform into bhakti, such knowledge is useless tinsels. As we navigate through ancient texts from Puranas to Bhagavatam, two pivotal itihasas that is relied on heavily are Ramayanam and Mahabharata. The best teachings we get out of these two epics is to imitate like Lord Rama from Ramayana and follow as Krishna says in Mahabharata. The same way, Puranas teaches us the quality of truthfulness, austerity, compassion, and charity. Leading to bhakti texts, the ultimate truth from Bhagavad Gita that Lord Krishna says, Karmanye vadika raste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma palaheturbo ma te sangottva karmani. You have the right to perform your actions, but do not let the fruit be the purpose of your actions, and therefore you won't be attached to not doing your duty. I think this is the biggest life lesson one should follow. Not expect anything in return, but do what you must do. Moving on to Mahabharata, this epic text talks about the struggle for sovereignty between two groups of cousins, the Kauravas and the Pandavas. Many characters involved in this history with different characters to teach some life lessons. The ultimate goal of this era, particularly the Dwapara Yuga, is to teach Dharma, the righteousness. It shows the difference between Dharma and Adharma, how to restore justice for one's honor, the way to behave in the society, how thinking before interacting is very important, and how to have limit boundaries in the relationship, how to take decisions in the dharmic way. We can explain all the lessons to be learned. We can explain all the lessons to be learned in detail, but to select a few, I have chosen three characters to be my example to show how their situations teaches us the life lessons. The first story I chose, King Shantanu. Throughout this epic, there are many instances where the characters have made decisions out of desire rather than using rational thinking or reasoning. To me, it feels like one dimensional approach to solve a problem. Controlling one's desire prevents unintended, undesirable consequences and results. In this part of epic, where King Shantanu is at fault for not controlling his desire, had he controlled his feelings for Satyavati and been selfless, Bhishma wouldn't have suffered mental agony that follows him throughout his life. Bhishma's promise to defend the Kuru dynasty bound him to speak against atrocities that were committed by the Kuru dynasty. King Shantanu's actions not only affected the Kuru dynasty and his son during his rule, but also had dire implications for future of the kingdom. The next character that I chose, story of Gandhari. After marrying Dhritarashtra, she decides to blindfold herself. Blindfolded, she is unable to watch over her children. She cannot see how her own brother Shakuni is slowly poisoning Duryodhana's mind and his ultimate plot to destroy the Kuru dynasty. She is unable to discipline her children and teach them right from wrong. How to behave oneself being a prince. In my opinion, she failed to do her duty as a housewife by not teaching how to respect women, not advising Dhritarashtra to make wise decisions, not disciplining her children. Her actions led to the destruction of her own family. My next example, I chose Karna's story. Karna was just as good a warrior as Arjuna. Karna matched Arjuna in terms of natural talent for mastering bow and arrow weapons, fighting bravery, and steadfastness in learning. Karna had an inborn talent in mastering bow and arrow fighting. Karna's misfortune after his birth is caused by his ego and self centeredness. He joins Kauravas and takes part in humiliating Pandavas and Draupadi. Karna's ego and self centeredness clouded his judgment to see right from wrong and question his company with Duryodhana. The Itihasa story of Mahabharata blends nicely with the life practices of the people. Practice and habits are the grounds of most of our beliefs. It has valuable lessons for people which helps in guiding one to pull oneself away from excess conditions like extreme immorality. Build your own path by clearing the obstacles in the righteous way. I just navigated through some of the bhakti movement for finding the reality. Great composer Saint Purandara Dasa, a Haridasa from Karnataka, through his composition teaches the reality of Supreme. Embrace inner transformation. Purandara Dasa was a wealthy merchant, but he transformed into a devoted ascetic, showing true fortune lies in spiritual growth and devotion and not materialistic. He says, Madhukara Vritti Yannadu. He starts to realize the wealth he has is for nothing and starts to live life like a saint and devote to the Supreme. Cultivate humility and self surrender. His life story teaches one has to have limitations and surrender to higher purpose, like more meaningful existence. He says, Manava Janma Doddadu, Ada Hani Madikolladira. Man's existence is huge and don't waste it. And there's another teaching that he has given through his composition is live a life of service. He used his music to spread spiritual and ethical messages, like advocating for service to God and humanity. He says, Kereya neeranu kerege challi. You have to take water from a pond and give it back, like meaning use your knowledge to what and where you learned from. Recognize the supreme power of the Supreme Himself. His compositions teach us what is outside of God's will not pass on, and true happiness is with aligning to the divine's supreme power. He says, Hari Chitta Satya, Parara Sevisuvudu Hariya Chittavu, Duritava Kalevudu Hariya Chittavu. Taking off all the sins and sorrows is his duty, but for us, being truthful and going the righteous way is our duty. In general, for me, Bharatanatyam, I'm a Bharatanatyam dancer and it's a traditional art form. I always follow art is not just for entertainment but for enlightenment, a quote by Swami Vivekananda, which is what Lord Krishna also teaches us from the act throughout the Mahabharata. When Arjuna and Duryodhana go to seek help for war, Arjuna sits beside Krishna's feet, but Duryodhana, in arrogance, sits beside Krishna in a chair, looking after his comfort. Krishna offers his help to Arjuna first as he showed submissiveness. It is said and shows clearly how dedicated you must be in what you are doing, which shows us the path for victory and enlightenment. And these are some of my references. Thank you.
Bhargavi, it's a great presentation. One of the things which you brought out is known character and not so well known characters, particularly King Shantanu and Draupadi. And it's very interesting that you would like to proceed further, delve in depth on the life aspects as depicted in Haridasaru Padyagalu. Karaya Neerani Karaya Jalli, Parava Padake. So that is a very popular Geetam in Maya Malagauda, Malahari, either way. So it's good that we are able to take an angle. But one thing is, Gandhari, although she had tied her eyes, the point we have to bring it is she is not blind just by tying her eyes or blindfolding. She is blind inside in a way that she is not able to discriminate which is good and which is bad. It's like Dhritarashtra. Being blind is nothing, but being blind inside that, being blind not to discriminate or differentiate between good and bad things, dharma and adharma is most dangerous. And that's what both Dhritarashtra and Gandhari depict. So that's one thing. And so it's good presentation, and I am very satisfied with all the presentations.